Yeah, you can. As long as it doesn't.
He's talking to Eric Schmidt. No, Eric's gone. Okay, Josh, it's all yours.
So hi guys, welcome to the digital dinner presented by SocialHi5. I think it's a pretty cool idea. You know, these are typically done in the morning on the East Coast, and with you guys being an hour behind us here in Arizona, it's kind of a unique way to do it. But I really like the idea and the concept, and happy to come in the office in the later hours and help deliver some of this real valuable content to you guys. So my name is Josh Weem. It's a Norwegian name, so that might catch a little bit, sound a little funny, but I've been with the company for about 2 years, and today we're going to talk about how digital has evolved into what it is now, and the concept of micro moments, which some of you may have heard of this year. It's kind of a new term for consumer behavior. So getting right into it. The agenda of the presentation, we're going to discuss why online, why now is the time to be online, why would you want to be online with Google, and then ultimately why, of course, choose an agency to work with. So why online? As many as 88% of consumers are actually researching things online before they go to the store to buy it. And studies are actually showing us also in the recent past year or so that consumers don't trust a business that doesn't have a website or a significant online presence. If you have a real good brick and mortar business and you've been doing it for 30 years and everybody knows you, but your website's kind of so-so, it's something that a consumer in today's age is going to ding you for. So it's become a lot more important to treat that as kind of your storefront in the virtual world. Could you guys play that first video for micro moments?
Okay. Joe, what's up?
Yeah, so tonight is a seminar or dinner?
What?
I saw the digital dinner. What that means? I have a dinner? Or
Yeah, there's food.
Yeah, bring it in right now.
There we go.
That-
There we go.
that's a dinner.
Watch.
You're clicking or grinding down the German So it sounds like the food made it okay?
Yep. There we go. 88% of consumers. We're back to you, Josh.
Outstanding. Hey, I want everyone to know also, if you've got questions, feel free to interrupt during the presentation, but also when it's over, I'll be offering a Q&A session for as long as you guys have questions for me. So save anything you got to ask.
Sure, got it.
Very good. So we don't go online anymore nowadays. We live online, and that's going to continue to be the norm. Online access is ubiquitous, and one day it will be free, just like analog television was, and like a lot of things become at some point. So we need to kind of get out of the mindset of going online and having certain time devoted to online, and realize that here pretty quickly, and for many of us right now, we're online all day long, all the time. And when we're there, we're tuning in more than ever. We've got these devices now that are incredibly powerful. It's kind of like Star Trek when you watch those old episodes. It's like we're doing it now. We have a device in our hand that's fully capable of doing almost anything a computer can do. So we're using that from morning to night. For many of us, that begins when we wake up and the alarm clock is on the on the cell phone. Maybe we got a text or an email through the night that was real important. And we go through the day using the flashlight app, listening to music, ordering tickets, watching videos, etc. So we're on these things all the time. And as an advertiser, as a marketer, this is a great tool for us to use to appeal to the people that we want to, the people that are buying our products in a very intimate setting. We've never had a device that they hold in their hand all day that we can market to them on. So why online? Media consumption has been changing. These are these digital trends that dictated a lot of things, and one of them is multiple device usage. Most of us don't just do this on one, we're not going to shop for shoes on our cell phone and complete that process there. In those cases, we'll be at lunch, on a lunch break, checking them out. We'll go home later on. We'll look on the computer, look for the same shoes, and maybe watch a video about it, etc. We're going through all these different devices throughout the day and carrying that path to purchase with us. So we're consuming media in a completely different way than we used to. Right now, we're spending 2,400 minutes a week on our devices, on our phones, on our computers, on our tablets, and less than 2,000 minutes a week now on television usage. So it's predicted now that businesses using the web are expected to grow 40% faster than those that don't, and there's some pretty obvious reasons for that. But as connected as the world is now, it's pretty clear that wherever, whatever we're doing, whatever we're trying to sell or market to people, needs to be done online for sure. One nice comparison I like to make, I'm 37, so I'm not as young or as old as some people, but in my family, I had, my dad likes to do this right here. He's sitting on the laptop and he's spying on the cousins and the aunts and uncles and whatever everyone's doing on Facebook. My daughter's got her cell phone with her, and the TV's going the whole time. So most of us, 63% of us now, watch TV and surf the web at the same time. We're not making a distinction between these different, content consumption. We're doing this at the same time. We're doing it in a very fervent way. 90% of us move between devices to accomplish a goal. So like I was saying before, this is a constant thing. I might be at work on the computer and on a quick break, check out tickets for a concert coming up. I'll go home and share it on social media. Ultimately, I'll be on my computer later and I'll make the purchase there. It's that kind of a process now, where before we had a much more linear path to purchase. So as far as the devices, we're talking about mobile phones. The technology has caught up to enable them to pretty much do anything that they, that we need them to do. Initially, it was thought that cell phones would have a screen that would be sort of limited in how we could market video and how people would enjoy it and to be wanting to consume it on that device. But the truth is, the size of the screen is not a limiting factor, and the technology to allow responsive web design and things like that and the operating systems for mobile devices to catch up has enabled us to use that for anything. So currently, we're using cell phones 150 times a day. Now, that's a regular person. A teenage girl is in the 300 to 400 times a day range probably, but this is just regular everyday people. We're using the apps that we have on there. We're playing games on there. We're sharing things on the Facebook. We're getting, texts and emails and things like that. So it's a constant process, and it's something that's relatively new to us in the the marketing and advertising world. So this past year, we've seen a 20% increase in mobile share of online sessions. That's 1 in 5. So everyone who's visiting the internet is using a cell phone 20% of the time. That's pretty large section of that audience. Where initially, again, we thought that would be sort of a tertiary device that we wouldn't really go to make conversions or to to visit a retailer or something like that. It's not the case. Now, adversely, 18% decrease in the amount of time spent per visit. So people are visiting online. They're doing it often. They're doing it on their convenient cell phone devices. They are not spending as much time during each visit. So that just tells us that, and it continues to be this way, people's attention spans are pretty limited in this day and age, and you've got to get to them pretty quickly to make an impact, to make them want to see what you have to say. So a lot of that has to, if you think about when you're making a search in a local area, if it's taking a few seconds for results to populate, you might go to the next, the next page or the next result. Today, when we're looking for an answer, that amount of time that we're going to wait for that has shrunken dramatically. And so that's really what that means. We're not losing them. We're just losing the amount of time we have to appeal to them. So we have to be a little bit more creative, a little more aggressive in the creative, the messages that we're trying to create and send to them. So back to what mobile devices can and can't do and what they were perceived to not be able to do. We have seen a 29% increase in mobile conversion rates. So that's telling us that people are happy to make purchases and do things that they would normally do on a computer right there on their cell phone. Again, the technology caught up to allow coders and web developers to create apps and operating systems that would function with these kinds of things. And consumers have told us that they're just fine using that. They have no issues with the size of it or with the limitations that it may still have. They're comfortable with that device. And so as marketers, we want to accept that and go ahead and attack that market. So the world has changed quite a bit. 61% of us actually prefer our news on one of these devices now rather than the old-fashioned newspaper, which has some nostalgia to it. I'm not going to lie there, but I think it speaks to a larger trend of people kind of consuming things in a faster, more efficient, and less involved kind of a way, which, there's good and bad to that, of course. But right now we're looking at 4 hours and 13 minutes more time spent online than we're watching TV every week. And that, when I was going to high school, that was dramatically different. You'd pay for your little internet usage and get in trouble if you were on there too long, but the TV would run all day long. It's changing. When we're able to watch Netflix and DVR things and watch television when we want to, that changes our willingness to accept commercials and things like that and dribble inside of our programming time. We're getting a little spoiled that way. We're not going to accept that. So from a marketing standpoint, we just got to find out where they are and how to get to them. So 150 hours a month are spent online by the average American. And then 20% of all online sales are made on those mobile devices again. So most of you who are in marketing have probably heard a lot about mobile in the past few years, and there's a reason for that, of course. But where we did see that trend coming up and coming towards us, it has happened even quicker than most analysts expected. So the truth there is that we want to be very aggressive the way we're tackling mobile and the way we're finding opportunities to appeal to our customers in these new, unique ways, in very relevant ways. And that's one of the best things that we do at Google. We're looking to avoid you throwing a marketing budget up on the wall and hoping that certain things stick. Using AdWords is akin to having, I like to use the analogy of having so I used to work in Colorado Springs, Colorado. You drive to work every day on the highway, and there was a Geico billboard up, and I never used Geico insurance. I'm sure it's great, but I'd see the gecko there every day at the 1-800 number, and surely someone's paying, whatever, $5,000 a month, whatever it might be for that ad. But it's difficult to quantify how many people driving by it are actually calling that number based on that engagement and making that that purchase. So AdWords essentially, in a nutshell, gives you the ability to put that, you've got that billboard up and you're paying for it, but you're only sending it up out of the ground when someone drives by with the need for insurance. Who has looked for insurance lately online? Who has insurance that's coming up soon for registration, for renewal? So it allows you to kind of avoid the irrelevant stuff and focus on the people that based on qualified information, are looking for what you're offering, whatever that might be. So why is now the right time? The buying process has changed too. People are much smarter than they used to be. And they're very unpredictable. So they switch regularly between those devices. I mentioned, you're on the phone at work, maybe during a break, hopefully during a break. And then you move to your tablet, and then you move to your PC, and then, you might go home and continue on one of those three devices. But that's happening regularly. It's not uncommon for someone to visit all of those before making a purchase, even a small one. I mean, people are reading reviews on what you're selling. They're comparing styles. They're looking on social media to see if their friends might have liked it or suggested it. They're researching how much it might cost them, all that kind of stuff. In the 50s, you'd walk up to the car dealership, and the car dealer would come out there whistling and tell you all about the cars on the lot. And typically you'd be listening because that's where you're learning it. Well, now nearly everyone walking onto a car lot is more informed than than the people that are selling the vehicle. They've already done comparison. They already know that they can get it cheaper here or there, and they're not going to hear anything that they haven't heard that's going to sway them. They're much more informed. So when we're appealing to them, we can't be slimy. Not that any of us would have anyway, but as a marketer now, you can't trick anybody. Everyone's the consumer in general. That consumer profile is a much smarter individual. They have a lot more resources with which to research us, to find out what we're really up to. So they search. 93% of us are searching online and then purchasing something. And every second in our country, 40,000 searches occur. After that first one, I'm going to Vegas next month. Maybe I'm going to take a search. And then about a week later, I'm looking in what shows are there. And then maybe I'm looking at rental car locations, etc. Right? So the average number of information sources is now over 10. The buyers are researching before making that purchase. That's everything: reviews, prices. I want to look on Facebook. Has anyone heard of this, etc. So the buying process has changed dramatically. People are informed. They have it at their fingertips, and they're ready to use it. So we have to utilize that instead of we have to embrace the information that we have and use it to appeal to them. So this is the old way. If you go up to Yellowfront or Revco or one of these old retailers, you'd be looking in the yellow pages at their ad. You'd be looking at a billboard, a storefront, and maybe a print ad in a newspaper or something like that. From there, you would make a phone call and ask them if they're open and where they're located, or you'd walk into that store. You'd then ask for a quote or compare the goods, and then you'd basically make a purchase or you wouldn't. That would be the end of it. It was pretty linear. It was pretty predictable. So here's what we have now. People are doing all of these things at random times throughout the day. So if your product or service is on social media, it's 4 times more likely to be used or purchased if recommended by a friend. 41% of us research and make that purchase on a smartphone. That's a lot. And if your product or service appeals to a younger set, you can bet that number's higher. Viewing in store, 72% of us are reaching, and this is one I've seen a lot. Many of you probably have too. When I'm in the store, I see people researching everything online. They all have their phones out, and they're not all texting or talking. They're looking at nutrition facts. They're looking at health stuff. They're looking at prices at other stores, coupons, all kinds of stuff like that. So, we're doing this in the store while we're buying. 77% of us look at reviews before making a purchase, and I don't know how that number is higher. I can't think of too many things I would buy before looking at a review on it. I just want to know what everyone thinks. I want to know what the consensus is on this product or service. I want to know the truth before someone sells it to me for one reason or another. And I have that ability now. And then lastly, 70% of the population watches YouTube, and that's not going away. YouTube's very functional and has a lot of value to our culture in a lot of ways, but certainly the reviews, the comparisons, the how-to videos, things like that, this is a tool that we can use. These are things that people are using to essentially find a reason to buy from us. So currently, this is the U.S. media consumption on the left. You'll see we're at about 43% digital. And later, I should say in about 12 months, digital will take over television as the #1 advertising medium, and it will probably, in all likelihood, stay there. And this is digital versus traditional. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Digital will overtake traditional media in a bucket as the #1 later this year. In 2016. So does your marketing spend align with your audience? Right now, as advertisers, we're still spending a lot of money on magazines, newspapers, and radio, and there is a lot of value to that for a lot of people and what they do. But for many of us, we're not spending enough on digital. We're not aware of the surge that digital has seen in marketing in the past several years, and the real impact that it has for us in the business world. So this is where U.S. ad spend is currently, and this is where media consumption is. You want to do your best to align your ad spend with where your customers are. If you don't do anything that has anything to do with radio, needless to say, you don't want to spend anything there. But if you're selling something to appeal, to a new audience, a new product, you're going to want to be in digital. You're going to want to be able to find them in there. That's where people are, and that's where you can appeal to them in that relevant way. You know, we're looking at what they like, what they've been searching for, the websites that they prefer to go to. We're able to market to them with relevant information. And again, we're basing that on their habits and their behavior online, as well as where they're located, things like that. So, for instance, if I've got a pizza parlor and I want to run a lunch special from 10 to 2, I can set my AdWords campaign to do a lunch special, $2 off, and to only serve to people from 10 to 2 on the days that I wanted to. Say it's a Monday, Wednesday special. If they have to be within 3 miles of my location, and I want to double my bid to anyone that's in that area during my lunch rush. So, you know, you can customize your campaign to do things like that on a daily basis, on a dime too. If I run an ad for a lunch special in a periodical, in a newspaper or something, and something changes, I need to change my inventories out, you know, the seasonality of it, I want to do something different. You just can't do that. So with AdWords, if you need to make a change to your copy, to your settings, to, you know, maybe I want to go 5 miles out because people are willing to drive that far for my incredible pizza, you can make that change on a whim. And having that kind of control on your advertising, I mean, you can't climb up that Geico billboard and change the phone number or, you know, flip it over for an hour. You can't do things like that. But with AdWords, you most certainly can. And there's a lot of value to knowing your customer and being able to do that kind of stuff. So what can you do to ramp up your presence online in 2016, which is just around the corner? Google search is still number one for source, you know, for information on products and services. That's pretty clear. But 69% of us also use friends and relatives, and that's obviously utilizing that social media impact. I think we all know that has a lot of value to us, certainly in marketing. And then 56% of us are looking at our significant other for this information, and just 52% are now going to the television for that. So. And I don't know why TV is gray in this infographic, but it just kind of shows you that the TV has a lot of value to us in society still, and it will for a long time. But its place is kind of you know, it's just kind of shifted its priority. It's still there, but it doesn't. We don't need to go to the TV anymore. We kind of dictate what we want to do and when we want to do it. So search is still number one. The Google Display Network, it reaches 90% of the world. We've got image ads, we've got text ads that you can run on the display network, and right there you can also see ads on mobile, kind of hiding there behind the boxes. The ads on mobile, those have gotten increasingly more relevant, less intrusive. The coding and the technology has caught up with those. Many of you who frequent a mobile device for news or blogs or anything will probably notice that those ads have improved in how they serve to you and in what they look like and things like that. So. A lot of impact on the Google Display Network, and ads are served across more than 2 million affiliate websites, CNN, ESPN.com, things like that. So when you run a display ad for something that people don't know about yet, we have a lot of ways to find them and to kind of know where people that would like what you're doing are going to tend to be. You know, if you have a new healthy product, we have one right now going out there. It's a healthy energy bar. So they're looking to appeal to people who've obviously never heard of them. They're brand new on healthy sites, on exercise websites, on fitness blogs, things like that. A lot of value to having an agency that knows how this works and being able to put you in the right place to find your audience on the display network. So it can also target both content and the audience. So we have a lot of really specific targeting in AdWords that you can do to really hash out, again, those irrelevant searchers that aren't actually looking for what you're selling. You don't want to pay for those clicks. We have placement targeting. I mentioned the websites that we can put you on. And what that means is you know, we have 2 million plus websites that you're allowed to be on. You can decide which ones. You can say, I want to be sure to be on you know, CNN.com. I want to be on SportsIllustrated.com because I have a new shoe or whatever. You know, you can tell us which websites you want to be on. Topic targeting. You know, I'm selling a brand new outfit for winter wear, so I'm going to go into, you know, winter type topics. I'm going to go into, you know, wintry states, into the winter weather months, things like that. Keyword contextual. affinity targeting, in-market, and remarketing. A million ways that we can actually find, people that are looking for what you're doing. Maybe I'm selling a new app that's just, maybe it's a game. It's an app that's a game for people. You can put that on different apps that are relevant. Similar apps can hold ads for something new that you're trying to promote. Remarketing is kind of like, we don't like to call it stalking, but it's sort of, everyone's seen a remarketing ad. I looked at a product on this website a month ago, and everywhere I go now, I see that same, pair of sunglasses pop up, and now they're 20% off. Well, that's our way of saying, hey, we know you visited us, we know you liked us a little bit, and maybe you put something in your cart, but we miss you, and we want you to come back and buy our stuff. So a lot of things we can do from a remarketing standpoint there too with AdWords. And this kind of speaks to that as well. One visit's usually not enough. 96% of us leave a website without actually buying anything. And 70% abandon shopping carts without purchasing. Now, it doesn't mean that people are meaning to do that. That's just how flippant our consumer culture has become. We really need to kind of put it in front of them a few times before someone's really going to, and in many cases, take notice. So 49% of us typically visits 2 to 4 sites before we make that actual purchase. It just tells us that we have to be diligent, we have to be pretty aggressive, but we can do that without being offensive. We can do that while serving them relevant content that they actually want to see in places where it makes sense. So relevant channels for relevant content. It's kind of the name of the game. With Display Network, we have kind of a see, think, do, care philosophy here. So what that means is, first, we want people to see what we're up to, see what we have to offer. We want them to think about, how it could benefit them, what they can do with it. We obviously want them to use it, purchase it, make that connection with it, and then we want them to care about it ultimately. So that means, if they're a subscriber to a service, if they're a customer of ours, we want them to continue to offer them good service and products and things like that. So along that process, our different ad networks within AdWords kind of show themselves here. And display sort of applies to everything. When you're doing display advertising, it really does apply to each part of that consumer funnel. YouTube is more of a branding piece. It's more of an introductory thing, and it's great for telling stories. It has a lot of value to every type of advertiser, but it's really great for introducing something new or getting people to get into something that they currently aren't. You've seen a lot of these really neat YouTube promotional campaigns. Some of them go viral very quickly, and they have a lot of clout in a very small amount of time. And currently, as YouTube continues to be popularized for advertising and for marketing, the cost goes up incrementally. But right now, we're still looking at an average of around anywhere from 20 to 24 cents a video view. So, and at Google, when we say video view, we're really talking about lean forward viewing, which means someone's actually watching the video that's being watched, that's playing, that's being charged for. There are other ways you can pay for video advertising where if the video is playing above or below the fold and no one can see it, you're still being charged. We like to be sure that when you're paying for a video ad to run, the people are engaged with it. So I'm sure most of us have seen a YouTube video. It says skip ad on that bottom corner. When you click that, it's 5 seconds into most videos, and that prevents the advertiser from paying anything. So from a marketing standpoint, in a strategic sense, you can consider that first 5 seconds a free way to appeal to someone before they jump ship. And a lot of times they're not going to watch your ad no matter what because they're here to watch that content and they're just waiting to hit the button. But in any case, you're never going to pay for that unwanted engagement that never really was. And you can even use it strategically to maybe entice a few of those people to stick around. There's a pretty new Mountain Dew YouTube commercial that has, and I believe it's on television too, but it has a bunch of guys sitting around in kind of like a log cabin, and there are things start dancing around. I think there's a suit of armor, and there's like a bear rug, and things start getting kind of crazy and silly. And that went viral pretty quickly on YouTube, and there were some studies done on it to see how quickly people reacted to it and how quickly people engaged with it. And the truth is, starting off an ad with a lot of oddities and wildness and question marks made it very popular, made it very, people really wanted to stick around and see what was going on. So it doesn't always serve you well to build up to a climax if you're looking at this kind of a short window to appeal to them. Remember that 18% drop in amount of time spent per visit. We want to grab them, get their attention quickly, and YouTube's really good at that. Search, that's kind of in the middle. People need to know a little bit about something before they're going to search for it by keywords, which is typically the way we do search marketing. It's going to have a lot of value to you in the beginning. When we create campaigns and when we work with our agencies to do that, a lot of times we're looking for our keywords. Sometimes a new business calls in, they're looking for help. They might know their audience, but they don't really know how they're finding them online. How do people end up on our website? We don't know. Search is going to help us do that. We can start out with a core set of keywords that work well for businesses just like yours and build off of that. Obviously, your own branded terms will work well for you, and we can extrapolate from those and make you a real good keyword strategy. But search kind of works in the think and then in the do. You're going to use search terms as you continue to purchase from somebody and as you become familiar with a business. And then apps. Apps are really neat. Most of us have several apps on our phone. Apps are somewhat misunderstood. They are traditionally now the abbreviation app still means application, but it does pertain mainly to cell phone applications. And in this capacity, surely that's what we're talking about. So a lot of times you'll see a new game advertised within one of your viral games that your friends made you play or something like that. And that's where you first see it. And several months later, you've got your own little plan or whatever's going on, and that's where you care about it. So apps have a lot of functionality along the purchase path, mostly at the beginning and end, but there are some pretty unique apps out there that do some silly and useless things and make a lot of money, and then there are a lot that do some pretty neat things too, that do apply to the think and do. But this is sort of a concept map for you of kind of where your strategy should somewhat fall under. So, and again, so you guys will get this slideshow will be available as a PDF from the folks over there at Hi5, and you'll be able to kind of read through this and keep it for whatever it's worth to you. But in the C realm, some of the key performance indicators we're looking at there for the audiences that typically we're helping out: blog subscribers, social followers, videos completed, reading an article or watching a video. Those are some of the metrics and goals that we see for people that are trying to start in that process there. I want people to learn about us. So we're going there. Think newsletters, asking for more information, social amplification. I know an agency that's really good at that. Comparing products, rewards program, creating accounts, joining email lists, and writing reviews. For doing, we have a lot of metrics there too, and these are just kind of things that you can focus on and that we can target specifically within AdWords to give you a really good idea of what your customers are doing, of what they like, and what you can do for them. For a lot of people, a conversion is not a sale; it's a lead form on their website for a consultation. Sometimes it's a subscription to their video channel, to their YouTube channel, because that's how they make money. They monetize their videos. A lot of times they're looking for someone just to become a member of whatever they're doing. I just want you to follow my blog on Blogster or something like that. So it doesn't matter what your goals are. Most of us do want people to buy something, but that's not always the case. You might be doing something for charity or something else altogether. There are a lot of different goals you can have, and AdWords can figure out all of them and can help you achieve all of those. And it works very well with a program called Google Analytics, which some of you are probably familiar with. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, and it's really fun for a data analyst like myself. I love analytics, but it does have a little bit less support for the average user. So definitely want to work with some folks who know how that works to get it going at full speed. But Google Analytics is a free program that analyzes your web traffic. It can tell you literally where every single person that visited you came from, how long they were there. We can tell you what time they left, what part of your video did they not like and bail, all kinds of stuff like that. So as you're building a business, as you're building a brand or a name, we can give you insight on what people like about it and how it's tracking. These people are leaving this page. These people don't particularly like this content. let's freshen it up, let's do this, let's do that. These are the things that we can do to make sure that your customers are enjoying what you're doing and they're making those purchases that you want. So why would you work with an agency? The value of an agency is pretty tremendous. In this case, we're talking about a Google badged partner agency. So we started the partner program a few years back in an interest to work with ad agencies that support our vision and our desire to do things the right way with best practices and customer care as high priorities. So in every state, there's just a handful of badged agencies. It's something that, so these guys actually have to do. An agency that's badged with Google takes the same tests that we take internally. They're held to a very high standard of customer care and account performance. So, we don't take that lightly. It's very important to us that people are doing things the right way and that their customers feel that way as well. So when an agency gets badged, it means that people are, when they advertise with AdWords, with Hi5, they're finding success. They're not dropping that ad very quickly. It's working for them. The ROI is there. You're getting market knowledge. So one of the things that we do when we work with our partner agencies here, when we get an email that has updates on the latest and greatest from inside of Google, maybe it's a change to an interface, maybe it's a brand new product. We work a lot with betas, and our partner agencies get the first crack at those beta opportunities. So right now we have one going in San Francisco for plumbers. So I had an agency call in a couple weeks ago asking to get this plumber to be whitelisted for this beta. Well, because they're working with an agency that's a partner, we were able to get them in there. And sometimes we have things like that. I mean, when you're working with a Google partner, you got a bit of an inside track to what we're doing here. When something new happens or when a change is made, that's who finds out first. So having that market knowledge is a real benefit to you as a business owner, because there are a lot of reasons why people fail with AdWords when it does happen, but typically it's because they don't really have the acumen to handle the interface. It is a self-serving interface, but there's so many nuances to AdWords that when you're not working with a professional, it's difficult to kind of pinpoint what's working and what's not. Additionally, performance. This is where I said we held them to best practices. One of those is keyword match type. So there are a lot of different ways to employ keywords to find customers. Our best agencies utilize a myriad of different ones. They're looking at all different ways to make sure you're only paying for people that are going to buy. So performance is definitely one of the things we look at. The last thing we're going to do at Google is tell you to throw money at something that's not working. We've always been a company that kind of goes for the longer play on that. Our philosophy is if we can help you make it work, you're going to spend money because I'm always going to trade $10 for 20. I mean, I'll do that all day. And that's our goal. We're not, if throwing money at the problem is not going to fix it, we don't want you to do that. We want to analyze the ad copy. We want to get into your account settings. Maybe your ad scheduling's off a little bit. Maybe we're not utilizing ad extensions. So a lot of things like that a Google partner agency knows, but that the average person maybe doesn't. So performance is a big one there. It doesn't mean we only work with the best. It means that the philosophy is don't be evil, and that means when you're taking care of a customer who's trying to make money and build a business, you're doing it in such a way that matches our philosophy, which is just that. The user experience needs to be very, very good, and we need to not be deceiving people. We need to be giving them clear information when they want it and how they want it. So performance is a big one. You want it to work. And then lastly, time. One of the biggest complaints we've had from people who've come back to give it a shot because it's been a few years is the time. They didn't have time to monitor the campaign. They did not have time to get in there and make those keyword changes. And the bigger your business is, the more time it's going to require, and the more you're going to need an agency to handle that kind of stuff. Because when ROI is what you need, there are a lot of things you need to be monitoring and kind of watching to fine tune to make that happen. And that's what our agencies that we're partnered with do best. So when it comes to the value of an agency, I would say the top three things are market knowledge, which is that inside Google track, like cutting edge, what's happening now, what's going on next thing. Performance, we've been doing this for a long time. This office has been here for 7 years. We help agencies specifically with their AdWords advertisers and any problems and strategy related to that. So we're dedicated. We're always here for our agencies. Whenever we, when they call on us for something, we're here to help them because, we like to work with people that are doing things the way we intend them to be done. So those are the main things. Those are the best things you're getting out of an agency. And when they're badged, this is kind of like that next level. A partner is one thing. You get to the next level, you're a badged partner. You can display the Google logo. You can kind of work with us. Oftentimes that means you're invited to events. Your agencies, your businesses that you're working with, your clientele also sometimes have access to little perks and things like that. In fact, the digital breakfast, in this case, the digital dinner, it is one of those things. We actually don't do this for an agency that's not a Google partner and badged up like that. So a lot of value in working with an agency that works so closely with us. You have that inside. It's kind of like having a Googler on your side there in the back end. So badge agencies have that knowledge. Again, they take the same tests that we do. They demonstrate best practices through testing and performance. That's constant. With an AdWords account, our team handles aggressive account optimization and growth for the first 90 days. And then we're always there to help with whatever else comes along. But we're really good at launching accounts and getting things started for people. A badged agency actively manages customer needs and makes sure the reports are there to show you that ROI. And there are a number of different ways you can get reporting on what you're doing. Your agency can help you with that. A badged agency always runs a healthy business, and that's proven through the amount of AdWords they're doing. And when people jump into AdWords and it continues to grow, that means it's working. And when you have an agency that has that happen consistently with their clients, they know how it works. They know how AdWords works. At no point have we ever set a cost per click price or a bid price on anything. It's market driven. So it's only going up or down because it's working for people. And a good agency knows how to manipulate that, how to use that to our advantage, how to get in there and compete with. AdWords allows you to compete with a big budget person like a Walmart. It takes a lot less to be ranking in the same space as a large retailer online than it would be if you were to set up a shop next to Walmart selling various goods. Probably not going to compete for a while. So it's a really unique way to kind of subvert that whole, big market claim that was stated so long ago. We can sort of compete with these guys on a pretty fair, level here. That's what AdWords is remarkable for. That has a lot of versatility. But badged agency also provides that ongoing market and inside knowledge. And that part of that comes with working directly with us. If they've got a question about something they heard about on Twitter or something like that, they're going to ask us, and we're always sending out those updates. So if you've got a question for your agency about Google, and they don't have someone at Google to kind of refer that to, it's probably not as good as it is when they do. It's pretty neat to be able to answer questions like that and have people get off the phone and help their clients right away and have that working relationship. So just a ton of value to working with a badged Google partner agency. And I'd love to answer questions you guys might have about that. We got one more quick video, I should say, for you guys before the end, and then I'll open it up to Q&A after that.
I'm trying to find the. Trying to find the link there, Josh.
If you guys can't find it, I sent it to.
Hang on, I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Our AdWords program is all about achieving a positive ROI. We work on pretty slim margins, and so we need to make sure we're making a responsible investment into our marketing programs. I'm Allison. I'm the marketing manager at MEC. I'm responsible for all of our outbound marketing communications in order to promote all the great things we do here. The MEC brand is about inspiring and enabling Canadians to live outdoor active lifestyles. We want to provide all the great gear that they need to get outside and have a great time. When we first started talking about expanding our program, Success showed us some of the positive results they'd already seen on a much smaller program and the possibilities if we were to invest a greater amount of money and time on our AdWords campaigns.
I think one of the main misperceptions with working with a Google partner is it's going to cost you more. Ultimately, working with a Google partner means that you're going to be running a Google AdWords campaign more efficiently, which means it's actually going to provide cost savings in the end. In the first year of overhauling their campaign, we increased their revenue from that channel by 80%, and the following year we further increased it by another 30%.
I like working with an agency because they take on some of the daily responsibilities, but they also have the expertise we need to help us with the new features of the platform. Success is great because they're here in town, and so we can talk to them every day on the phone or get together and review the program as a group. By working with a Google partner agency, they have some of the first line of expertise on new changes to the platform, and they can also get us access to some of the betas that we can take advantage of and be one of the first businesses to use it. I would suggest that any business get together with the partner they're considering working with, talk to them about your goals, be honest, be blunt, tell them what you need to get out of the program. If they can do it for you, then you can go ahead.
Okay, guys, so I want to answer any questions that you might have about any of the stuff we went over. Remember, again, you'll get the slideshow from the group there afterwards, but anything you have pressing or any questions you have from that.
Well, the first